There we go. So now we're good across social media, Facebook Live, YouTube. Forgot to press go live just for the first 30 seconds there. So here we are, folks, this Friday, October 14th. Welcome on back here for our afternoon meeting. With that, hey, we were just saying a moment ago, the market seems pretty exhausted now at this point after such a big run up yesterday. Well, we ended up getting a pullback today. Not too surprising, but what I'm looking for after that pullback, especially around that 10:30 time, is to see a reversal, a bounce back up, to see higher lows, a squeeze back up, and just never got it. It ended up just continuing to drop off throughout the course of the late morning into the afternoon now. IMRA has been teasing this pop and breakout really all day. It's actually still holding right over its opening bell print, that being off of 352, I think. So, I'll come back to this one at least here by the end. IMRA, it was one on our pre-market watch list. It was looking pretty strong prior to 8 o'clock, ended up popping even higher after. But then, hey, after the market opened, had one bounce to it, but that was like kind of it. It's been teasing us since. Like I'd said, it's just kind of holding right above its opening bell print price right off of 352 for right now. Kind of straddling around it here. So maybe I'll come back to this trade just at the tail end of our meeting. But let me actually bring up the SPY chart right now because we were talking about the drop off from earlier today. And I'll tell you, I am looking for a bounce now. Now, it's easy just to hear that from anyone. Oh, just looking for a bounce right now. But when you look at it, I mean, we were talking about this yesterday, about, at 9 o'clock in the morning yesterday. We had called the retracement up. What we didn't expect was to see a full-blown recovery and then some. So in terms of trying to chart the SPY or at least an index heading into the next day, this allowed me at least a really good opportunity to just run the fib retracements back again, just going from low to high here. And from earlier today, this is a 5-minute chart, but you could see from earlier today, it tried to bounce off there quick, came back down, then squeezed up. I thought that could have been a point where we could have seen a subtle bounce, but on the next test of that price area, ended up just completely breaking under it. So when a stock or when an ETF, when anything, any ticker asset looks to break through big support like that, support initially becomes resistance, ended up holding under this perfectly. Well, it was holding above the 38.6 retracement next, and over time it broke below there. I was looking for the bounce right from this point, just got faked out. It pushed above it, but came right back down, and that's a huge red flag right away. So you don't want to be stuck holding on at that point. So at that very stage, you're expecting the next test of support. So just a moment ago, we basically ended up getting it. I tossed up this fib retracement set pretty quickly, so I probably have slightly different price levels on my other chart here, but it's basically there right off of 357.85. That was the price I was typing inside our live trading room earlier. So for right now, it's still holding above that fib support. So this could still be in play to see a bounce taking us into the close. All right. But I wanted to at least go over that here for right now. Perhaps we'll come back to the SPY at the tail end of the meeting. Let's go from top to bottom right now. Otherwise, I have a couple of call outs on Nerve and then Apple. I know Chuck will be a fan of seeing that later. Let me just go from top to bottom here first. I see Nerve, though, kind of right there. We'll run into it. AGFY. Now, this ended up making a really nice pop from the market open here. I mean, it was really active upon pre-market trading. But, going into the open, obviously ended up making a much bigger and better move. I didn't really feel as inclined to put this on our main watch list. It was, kind of flat after this last pop, so I wasn't expecting it, but we ended up getting it, and thankfully we called it out from that point pretty early on. So ended up taking mostly full advantage of this run from 1 all the way up 50 cents. So for as much as this moves up and up, you got to expect for it to pull back, but it's not a matter of when, it's a matter of where. So not only from this run, but from the last however many trading days this week, I guess this thing has been on a massive tear. Well, off of common iceberg price levels like 50-cent levels and whole numbers, 150, for the first time it tests that resistance after running up God knows how much percent. It's going to be more likely for it to false break. So it ended up just false breaking right from that point, held it perfect since. You could still say it's making higher lows. Don't get me wrong. Maybe I'll come back to this one at the tail end. Put this on our side list as well with the IMRA. but we'll probably try and find some stocks that are moving with the market at this point. Should we get that bounce, or if the SPY ends up breaking below that next fib support, roughly from under 357, perhaps we could see some better shorts taking us into the close. We shall see. I'm looking for that bounce first, though. IMRA we talked about. ATXI, another big mover. Now, we had talked about this from the pre-market heading into the market open here, folks. There we go. ATXI, I don't know what that was. ATXI was on our morning watch list, ended up making a nice pop shortly after the open, broke out from major resistance off of 375. But from that point, really, I mean, it moved above 4. Similar deal with this, as we said on AGFY, where for as much as it runs up, where could you find resistance? Off a whole number, off a 50-cent level. So unfortunately, although it broke from this consolidation here, didn't last long, moved up like 25, 30 cents, but nasty, ugly shake right back under that level. And from there, it was a wrap. All right, we'll keep it going. NTNX, I wasn't as interested in this trade really at first. I mean, it was like, I think if anything on the back end of our morning watch list. Yeah. SHPH, this one's actually had a little bit more liquidity on it the last week, I guess. Just from mid to late September, this made such a crazy pop and drop type of move that, the order book was really thin early on. But now you could see it's on a penny spread. Order book checks out pretty nicely. So this is trending up pretty nicely on the intraday too, on the way up towards whole number resistance at 4. All right, we got one here. SHPH. We're going to put this on our main list. All right, Pixie, I think we talked about briefly here, if anything, got halted a couple of times going up and then just ugly shake back down. Not a whole lot more to it than that. All right, Nerve. This is looking really good, not just on the intraday, but I know Chuck has been in on this as a swing. So this has been pushing back up pretty nicely, even getting really close to the highs that we had back from late August. So that's how we're familiar with this stock. Nerve topped off here back on the 29th at 1442, and then final trading day of the month. So really the high of the month. Thought this could have been September 1st, but 1527. So, it's still relatively a distance from that price, but in terms of the highs here, if anything, it's just right around that range now. So yeah, Nerve we'll put on our main watch list here for the afternoon. Just be really careful. Obviously, you could tell by the order book, I'm not a fan of the big spread, contrary to the SHPH pretty much. All right, we keep it going. Hollow. Interesting. Nice little move up here on the intraday. Order book is kind of thin, but I guess better than the other one, better than Nerve, right? If I put Nerve on our list, it's hard to ignore Hollow here. Trading 1.6 million shares total on the afternoon so far, or on the day. It's only up 18%. I say only because, I don't want to get spoiled with it, but, we see these 100% moves, 50% moves all the time. I mean, this is only up 18%. So perhaps there could be more to come on this trade, Hollow. I'll put this on our list as well. LASE from this morning. This ended up making a nice pop early in pre-market. Unfortunately, just was like a chop fest after. It was breaking above the opening print, roughly off that 5 level. I think 502 at the time, and just had a really tough time trying to make that big run up higher that you wanted to see. I ended up wasting a 15-20 cent profit here. I went break even, thankfully. I'm not going to lose a dime on the trade here if I'm going to waste profits, if anything. But, really nice entry, just never got that higher high. If it's not going to break any higher and make that big move higher that you were expecting, I thought this had the chance to go up towards a 540, 535 pre-market levels again. Just never did. So ended up going complete break even. Better that than down 30, 35 cents. This thing fell back down pretty nastily. It's like one of those losses, at least. It's like, whew, thank God I'm not on the wrong side of that ticket. And ended up dropping right back down. And yeah, for right now, I mean, I feel like this will be like the Peggy trade. This will be like the FNGR trade, perhaps otherwise. Stocks that make these big moves up, they're going to pull back and really begin to drop off lower. All right, the SPY is beginning to break lower right now. We'll see if it is a true break of support or if it ends up just kind of consolidating around that line. Not expecting perfection out of levels, folks, but as long as we generally see support begin to hold across the afternoon, we'll see what comes of that. Of course, ETFs like UVXY, SQQQ are at the highs in that case. So UVXY we'll put on our main list here in case if the markets plummet more, then this could be a nice trade to follow on the way up. All right, so with that, now we're probably going to find a lot more on the loser side, probably comparative to this morning. I'm going to jump right ahead to Peloton. So right away, I see it number 9 on the losers list, shortable. It's brand name stock that I feel like any one of us knows. So, Peloton coming right back down. We ended up seeing news of them like doing more layoffs. Actually, a bunch of volume just got filled here right now. We'll do a little tape reading in a moment, but just want to show you the weekly chart here for Peloton getting back pretty close to the all-time lows again. I was back from just last week, 60. Not the nicest number there, 666, but nonetheless, Peloton, we are going to put on our list here as a short. But with that, though, a bunch of volume just got filled here. Let me take a look at that from like a few seconds ago, if anything. I saw it a moment ago. I gotcha right here. So a bunch of volume filled on the bid right off 740, 738, 737, but right there, 736, that is your new level to watch, your new support. A 61,000 share print just got filled real time, folks, live. You never know what you catch during these meetings, but got a 61K print. And just given the size of the spike comparative to what we've seen across the day, I'd like to say that's big money, right? You got to follow the big money. All right, so with the market dropping off, perhaps building support here still, we'll see. SOXL, we followed it yesterday into the afternoon, or into the morning, I think even yesterday, but nonetheless, dropping back down as the markets pulled back. So AMD, NVIDIA all dropped off today. You can keep AMD on your side list, NVIDIA too, if you tend to follow the more expensive ones. Nothing extremely special about it, just aside from the sector being down big. It's, a volatile sector. So, if you do well on these stocks day to day, you know exactly who you are, right? MOS, we don't really trade this stock too frequent. I don't know if news came out on it or not, but dropped off quite a bit. It's still making lower highs a bit, broke a new low earlier. Let me just double check Benzinga here for news on MOS, Mosaic. This might just be an overall move with the market. It says that just shares of several companies in the broader materials sector trading lower, blah, blah, blah. So that's all we have there. Right now it looks tradable for me. I'll put this on our list here too. I don't want to build up too big of a list here. That's why we got to cherry pick at least the ones that are shortable that could drop with the market in case I'm wrong and the markets don't bounce from roughly around that 357-ish area or 357.85-ish area. But that's all I got here on the loser side, though, folks. There's definitely a lot more that's down percentage-wise. So if there's anything that looks good from your screen, type it in the chat board. Let me know. Nerve we have on our, that's on our side list. Let's jump back to Nerve here for right now. It's still looking really strong. Oh, actually, no, that's on our main list. I got to rewrite a few things here on my notepad. There we go. All right, so we got SHPH, we got Nerve, we got the Hollow Trade, Peloton, and Mosaic, both of those from the loser side. But that's 5 in total, folks. That's not a bad list either way. If there's anything else that you'd want to see, let me know. Oh, and UVXY, and then also the AGFY I had on our side list here. So to go back to this one for right now, I reckon, I wouldn't expect as clean of a push up. It seems like it's right at resistance, just looking at the weekly chart, past support levels right around here. So, that naturally should be a resistance. It moved up so much the last, 5 trading days in a row, pretty much at this point, 4 trading days in a row. If it pops, hey, we'll follow it if it pops, but I'm not going to hold my breath waiting for that here. All right. Carol says Apple is down, pulls the markets with it. It's just overall market move, right? So the markets are dragging Apple down, if anything, right? Chip sector is down big. So, like we just talked about, NVIDIA, AMD, Intel, etc. MARA, I was looking for a bounce a little bit earlier, right off of 1035, 1036. I was looking for a bounce earlier from 1088. Ended up taking a 7-cent loss. I started it off as a day trade. So once I realized the market wasn't going to look to make the bounce yet, it's like, all right, just cut ties with it. But, you know, I'm looking for a bounce coming up here on MARA if it can get back above 1035, 1036, that is. So that's one on my personal side list. But otherwise, you know, we'll check in with the SPY one last time here before we wrap up. If I don't change just the chart, my whole platform kind of freezes up here. So you could see it's still been holding pretty well. It broke a new low about 5 minutes ago, but like I said, it ended up actually bouncing pretty nicely, at least for right now. So generally, if it could begin to build the higher lows from this stage again, then I feel like we can get some good short covering or at least a nice little squeeze up higher into the afternoon. So we'll watch this price area right off the lows for right now, and that's based off the fib retracement we had set from yesterday. For anyone joining us just right now, I did this to start the meeting. So from bottom to top, at least from yesterday's low to high, it's right off the 50%. So it is a nice support level to keep your eyes on, at least across the afternoon. You know, we were following that inside our live trading room all across the late morning, the early afternoon here. So for all of us on social media, if you wanted to join us inside our live trading room, continue our audio commentary, whether it be for today or for next week, feel more than free to go right down to the link on the yellow banner below the stream right there to get yourself started. But for any one of us otherwise, if you have any questions, feel more than free to send it over a quick email. I always like to post my email here at the end of these streams too, josh@c2trading.com. But otherwise, for Leda, Jeff, Carol, and Jeff, we got 2 Jeffs there. 2 Jeffs, Aleda, Carol, and all of us otherwise, Armand, etc. I know that Rich will be in the trading room with you folks just on the mic, so he'll be back on right at 3 p.m. Talk to you folks soon.
Today, you are invited into the world of Become a Cyber Group member today. Just click the link below and receive all these amazing products and a world of knowledge for just $9. Do it today.